Welcome to the Karuna Life. I'm Gina Kitzmiller. I'm a professional intuitive, a Reiki master teacher, an author, and founder of Trimatri Reiki. And today I have Lucas Kirschman with me, and I'm going to read his bio because he's got a lot here. So, Lucas is a Sound Healing Academy certified practitioner. He's a certified Biofield Tuning practitioner and yoga teacher based in Tampa, Florida. Through his practice, Nirvana State, he offers private sound therapy, biofield tuning, group sound baths, and yin yoga, both in person and remotely. And each one is guided intuitively and shaped by what the person needs in the moment. He is also the founder of Sound Nuts, which is a snack brand built on the idea that intention and healing frequencies can be infused into everything, including what we eat and drink. So I have been looking forward to this conversation. Lucas was recommended to me by a very good friend of mine. She said he is just spectacular at what he does. And I've been really excited to have a conversation around biofield tuning and different kind of forms of sound healing. So Lucas, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me here. You come highly recommended as well from the same person. I
Well, thank you.
love the pod too.
So I wanted to ask because when I was looking at your website, I saw that you actually have your background story was more that you were from corporate.
Mhm.
So, kind of that transition into this world of yoga and sound healing and intuitive work. Can you talk a little bit about how you went from there to here?
Yes, and it's an interesting path. Um, it was 23, or so. I worked in marketing, financial services marketing for quite a long time, almost 2 decades in advertising and marketing. So client side, agency side, and it was getting towards the end. I started to work remotely when I worked for Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade. Um, and it was, I just started realizing that it was great. And like, having a paycheck's beautiful every 2 weeks. Like that's great. And all. And the work I was doing was really fulfilling. It was just like, there was a lot of, um, there was more like downs than ups, more valleys than peaks, maybe. Um, so I was like, okay, I was starting to get into teaching yoga. So I started my YTT in 21. I was in New York for most of that time, about half my life, 20 years. And I moved back to Tampa in Florida where I am now. And I started yoga teacher training. And at the same time, I'm like, oh, well, maybe I can start manifesting things. So I was like, let me just manifest a year off to figure out my life. And that was in 23. And towards the end of 23, because Charles Schwab bought TD Ameritrade, um, there were often talks of people getting laid off, severed. Um, so I kind of just like thought about it and made it happen. I almost had the exact date that it happened too. So that was like,
Really?
yeah, it was like October. It was like a week off. Um, and that was October of 23. And I was like, all right, well, here comes 24. This is my year off, my year off to like figure things out. Um, and so at the end of 23, it was December, I was in a sound bath and I had done sound baths, but I hadn't done a lot with gongs. Um, and I was kind of laying almost right in front of the gong, and it was hit whatever in how many ways, how many times, I'm not sure, but it changed me for like 3 days. Like I was a different person for 3 days, and I was like, okay, sound makes sense. And I was also looking for like what am I going to do for the rest of my life? Like I don't want to do the corporate bullshit anymore and have all um the politics, all the stuff that I didn't like, Um so like, okay, I guess gongs are where I'm going, as we have a gong right here. Um but I just dug into sound. So in 24, I just started saying yes to everything. Training with doing biofield tuning training, sound healing academy. Um, I mean, I did a 10-day silent meditation retreat. Like anything that was
Wow.
coming up for me, I was like, I'm in, and I want to learn more about all the stuff, all the weird stuff. So I just kept going. And that's been, gosh, almost. over 2 years now. But it feels like it's funny. People ask me how long I've been in this world, and it feels like 18 years when I haven't, like I haven't actually been practicing for like decades, but it feels like it. Crazy. And that's
No, that makes sense to me.
right.
Hmm.
It feels like where I'm supposed to be.
And I think that's part of it, right? Where it
Mm.
feels like, and I do think time is like sped up. So I
Oh
just
yeah.
feel like we're getting so much. So you did a lot of training, it sounds like, in that time
Mm,
period. Obviously, you have that beautiful gong behind you, and you were showing me some of the other
mm,
ones. And for anyone who has not experienced like a sound bath with a gong, it's another level. Like,
yeah.
and I love my singing bowls that I have, but the gong is just, it's amazing. And Lucas and I were laughing that I'm the person that wants to have my head up like right by it as well. So you can really feel the ripples through your field. So can you explain though, because a lot of people aren't going to know what biofield tuning is. So can you
Sure.
explain about like what that is?
Yeah, and the way I talk about it is well, it depends on who I'm talking to, honestly. So everyone has an electric field around us or around you, right? And so depending again on who I'm talking to, maybe I'm saying it's a biofield or maybe it's an aura, it could be both. To some people that think aura is like too woo-woo or something. Um, like my dad, maybe. So
Or my
we have
brother?
the yeah, it's like, okay, it's just funny that there's people in our lives that we love and that love us, and they're like, I don't know what you're doing. Anyway, so we have this field, right? This energetic field. And again, I talk about it to people to like, someone walks in the room and immediately that they're like really awesome or really terrible. I mean, maybe it's in between, but for most people, you can tell because we're all like hitting each other with these fields, like they're everywhere. Anyway, so that exists. And in that biofield is all the all the things that have happened in your life to your body, emotionally, physically, are all in the body, but they're manifested in the field, right? So your aura is, I don't know how much of my arms you can see, but your aura goes usually out to your fingertips, right? And kind of like narrows at the top and at your feet. So when we talk about biofield tuning, we're getting into that biofield. There's a whole protocol of like identifying what part of the body needs help that day, besides someone saying like my right hip hurts. Um, and so there's things that are happening in the body that are you can hear it. Just interesting. You can kind of feel and hear it in the field. So often I'll work on someone and I'm like, oh yeah, I can like, and so you hear it in the field, and there's also the further out you are, the closer you are to your birth or to gestation. So then you can also like track in to be like, well, I'm feeling this at like 10 years old, and then someone tells me a story about something crazy that happened, and then they're 10, they're still holding on to it, like something they haven't thought about in forever. So you can clear those things out with tuning forks like around you, like not even on the
No,
body.
that was a good explanation. I'm glad that you explained it because it's hard to
Yeah,
explain to
it
people, but
is.
I
Yeah.
do try to explain it, and you can find that in the field. And you can pick up on like emotion and you can ask, like, did something happen? And people
Mm.
will say, yeah, I had a really bad divorce like 5 years ago, because you can feel it in that range. And so I haven't been formally trained. I kind of use my guides to tell me.
Yeah.
So I think I do it a little differently, but there is something to it and you can feel that. And people will often say they feel lighter because I think they're not carrying those heavy emotions. And I think oftentimes we have a lot of stuff from childhood that gets imprinted, and it's like the field's kind of dense because we've got these little pockets of, wounding or places that need healing. I always say it's like sticky, that I think the sound healing can kind of move through. So, um, I'm wondering for yourself, like, was there like this aha moment, or did you always believe this was like you went into sound healing? Was it the gong moment that you were like, there's something to this, or did something else happen that you like connected it and said, like, there's something like, kind of really deeper at work here that's very healing that made you want to go into it?
And so the difference of how it made me feel is one thing. I mean, sound and music has always been something that I've been close to, as in it shifts my mood. I didn't grow up playing anything like any instruments really, and now I'm like playing flutes randomly. It's really interesting. It's weird.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like about flautist, I guess, to some degree. Like the easy flutes, I like to play. I'm just all the side blown and all the fun ones. But like going around a room and using a drum is something that I didn't grow up with. But I was like a DJ when I was in college, and I was always into music and like the frequencies. I didn't know why I liked certain things. I just knew I did. Um, so this kind of like aligns now. It's like creating the mood, or it's like as someone said to me the other day, like you're still mixing. You're just mixing, instruments, sound instruments, not hip hop records or whatever. It's funny to like see. Um, so to also get, I think a little like maybe one level deeper in that answer, is I've also I've always been open to anything. So it's not like I needed to completely shift and go from not believing any of woo is an easy word for this, right? But like any of this stuff, because I was always open to it. Anything that anyone shared with me, I'm open to. So that part of this community, this world was like easy to open up to.
That makes
Was
sense.
kind of
I
like
kind of see it as
underneath
like
it.
a path. Yeah. So it's like you had kind of some people have to like I almost feel like they're bushwhacking through the forest and it's like
Yeah.
hard and there's a lot. And for you, it just feels like you just kind of stepped over and the path was already here and
It's
it's cleared and it just things started happening very quickly.
exactly. And even I often I'll think back to interactions I had, like this, the interactions that stay with you for some reason, you don't know why. And it was, I always remember this one teacher in high school, and they're like, "Oh, what are you going to do?" It's like senior year. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to business school in New York." And she's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Why?" Or something. And I'm like, I want to go back and actually say, what did you think I should be doing? Or it's like whether she saw me here, it's like one of those things like I want to believe in all this stuff, right? Um, and especially like sci-fi stuff just makes me so happy. So it's interactions
Well, I
like
think we're
that.
going to get a lot of that. I think
It's
a lot's going to be coming out with that in the next
oh my
couple
God,
years. Yeah.
awesome. Like things like that where I'm like, oh yeah, you know, people around me always knew that I was going down a path that maybe, or the people that truly saw me, perhaps, you know? Um, and so now everyone's like, yeah, this makes sense what you're doing.
I could see that. That makes sense. So they were kind of like almost reading something intuitively. Like you're just, oh, okay, he's going to go on a little bit different path, maybe not
Yeah.
the traditional. Did you ever have a moment of like freak out of like, what am I doing here? Because it's such a vast difference between the corporate world and what
Oh
you were
yeah.
doing. And then, and did people like question you like from your old job? Or they like, you're doing what? Because that's a pretty big jump.
I think there's still people probably doing that, wondering what the hell I'm doing. Um, even sound healing, because I'm so surrounded by it and people know what it is. And I'll talk to someone else and I'll be like, yeah, I'm like, there's so many fucking people in this field now. Like this is getting crowded. And a friend was like, I've never heard of anything you do. So it's, you get the algorithm of Instagram is what it is, right? And it feels like you're surrounded by or there's like this like lack rather than abundance piece that comes in, and all those other like natural feelings that come up. Um, but I definitely there's like group chat or group emails with. I still play golf a lot. I'm a really big golfer. So like those guys don't know what I'm doing. Like they understand because I talk to them about it, and I'm like, here, let me put two forks on your ears when you have a bad hole, and I can help you reset. And they're like, okay. Most of them are fine with it. They're into it.
Really? They let you do it? I'm like, I love it. You like pull them just out. Like, I
Oh,
don't
I
think
have
I,
them
oh my gosh, that's great. Cause I'm
in.
like, I have a lot of tuning forks, but I don't like usually pull them out like in random, like, hey,
Well,
I might have to start
it
doing that.
I mean, I drive around with it. In the cold, when I lead sauna and cold plunge here too, or if it's a small yoga class, um, like I'll go around and I place forks on people, weighted tuning forks. But or like if you're in a cold plunge, there's nothing that more quickly will get you okay with the cold than putting forks on your ears to
Really?
stimulate the vagus nerve.
Okay.
Anyway, so to go a little bit back. So yeah, people are like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I tell them what it is and what I do and how I'm doing it. It's like, yeah, this makes sense. It makes sense for me. And I'm sure there's other people that are like, whatever, he's not meant for corporate, or he's weird, and I am weird and I'm good with that. I've always been like a little different, and no matter where I've been in the world. So people are like, oh, he's now too weird for me, then cool.
That makes sense.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah. So I'm curious. So you see clients. So do you do just biofield tuning? Do you do sound healing? Do you do both? Because they're kind of,
Yeah.
can you explain? Because they are kind
Yeah.
of different, correct?
It's all sound when it
Mhm.
comes down to it. Even if it's tuning forks on the body, it's still sound that's going in. Or, a Himalayan bowl on the body, it's the same thing, right? There's like a base protocol for biofield tuning, which you start at, it's Earth Star and Sun Star, and you're opening the central channel. So a lot of that I'll do the same client to client, because you want to open up the body to allow for the tuning, to allow to receive anything, right? It's not tuning only. But normally on the beginning, on it's kind of on like a biofield tuning sandwich. On both sides of the tuning is I'm bringing in gongs, whatever other intuitive instruments make sense to help relax a little. So I'm starting and ending with like a mini sound bath, of like maybe 10 minutes or less on each side. So then I'm kind of bringing you into the space calm, and letting you escape after the biofield tuning calm. So in the middle is the tuning itself. And this can be like, usually my sessions are an hour and a half, 2 hours. That session can be really interactive. So we're talking through, I'm like, I feel something at age 4, and it can also shift a lot too. If someone needs more on body, then I'm there, you can do like I can't remember the name right now, but, a backslide basically. So you're putting forks on there all the way up the spine. So there's a lot of different pieces to that, but it's very interactive and you're very awake. So versus a sound bath where you're floating away, you're not talking, you're almost in a nidra like state. Um, so it so that's usually how my sessions go. Um, when I It's funny when I tell clients, if you want to drift away, that's fine. That's what I do. When I get a tuning from someone else, like I go to another universe, like I'm somewhere else. Like if they're talking to me, like I'm not going to respond, because like I just get sent somewhere, which is awesome. But there's always that option of like you can float away or you can
Yeah.
stay present. I would prefer the client to stay present, because I want to talk about the weird stuff that's coming up for them. But it's,
Yeah.
but if they
I'm the
float
same
away,
way. Like it's like I never thought I would, but I'm like constantly talking, asking questions because it's nice to have the feedback
yeah.
and then be able to frame like what you're getting. But I'm
Hmm.
also, if I'm on the table, I want to drift. Like I
Yeah.
don't ask me
Yeah.
any questions.
Exactly.
Like you can fill me in at the end. I trust what you're
So
doing.
funny.
And I was just thinking the first time, and this is years ago, that I fell in love with tuning forks and why I use them was because someone did a whole, like, I can't remember what she called it, but she worked in the field. She didn't say a word the entire time, and she just was hitting the forks and kind of doing something similar. I can't remember exactly what. I think it was based off of biofield tuning.
Mm.
And she kind of cautioned me and said, like, you might feel a little bit sick tomorrow, or like, kind of fatigued. And I was like, oh, kind of skeptical. Like, I was like, yeah, she wasn't even like, in the field. We weren't doing energy work. And then I think it was like a day later, maybe a day and a half, like out of nowhere, I started to feel that fatigue when you think you're getting the flu.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, I think I'm getting the flu. And then the light bulb went off. And I was like, no, like this is kind of the detox from what she had done in the field. And
Yeah.
then I was hooked after that. I was like, I think I ran out and got the forks and
Mhm.
started like studying them. So they can be really powerful. Do you find your sessions seem a little gentler than that? Like, because you've got the sound healing, like you said, the sandwich, but do you find that people have any sort of like detox from it occasionally?
Not normally. So, and interesting. There's protocols like, there's adrenal resets that you can do that are multiple sessions, and that's what that almost made me think of when you said that example of what you experienced. Because when you get into the adrenals, it can be really powerful and so draining for the body, right? Um, but yeah, most of the time people leave here either like ready to take a nap in a good way or just like chill, just so chill. So, um, yeah, maybe I don't know. I haven't thought about the fact that it's always been that way. Um, but yeah, I think it probably is. It's my energy that I'm bringing to this. Um, yeah, that's probably what it is.
I'm gonna have to go back and ask that practitioner if it was, because I do remember it was something. It wasn't just a session. It was like you had to space them, like it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it
That
probably
sounds like an
was
adrenal
something.
reset. Because yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 2 to 3 spaced over a couple weeks to give the
Yes.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you didn't know it
It
was
was
going to be
cool.
like that, it's interesting to like feel it.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. Like
So
you don't even have to touch the body with a fork, and you can feel it in your space in your body. I mean, it's unbelievable.
really, I think there's going to be more and more around sound. And I don't know if this is true or not, but someone was just telling me that they heard that you can put fire out. Like there's now like a
Mhm.
machine and it's using
Oh yeah,
sound of
yeah.
very
I've
low
seen them.
hertz. And that's crazy. So I just think that sometimes we think because we can't see it, that it's not powerful.
Hmm.
But I know that when I'm doing work with any sort of sound healing, that's the one thing my guides say is like, it's actually more powerful than what I think. And sometimes they tell me like, tone down a little bit because I want to come charging in. And it's like, no, no, like it's, soft and you don't realize how powerful the frequency is that you're working with. So, I was wondering with the clients that you work with, do you find like there's certain like emotions or patterns that like get kind of caught up in the field? Like I always talk about the mental loops. I think oftentimes sound healing can really help kind of quiet that response that we tend to have. But is there something that you tend to see just in general with clients?
What often comes up is so depending on the client, I usually feel so I can either see what vision based things come up, photos, usually like photos. I don't even know how to describe it, but visual stuff comes up for me and then feeling, right? All my clairs are starting to really pop up too, which is interesting. And I didn't have really any sense of this until I started picking up tuning forks. Um, but nausea is something that often comes up. And I think I mostly work with women right now, my clients. Um, but like there's always this nausea, and I think it's common because because of childhood experiences and or like eating not disorders, but the role of eating and how that's treated when you're a young woman, and that comes up almost every time I work with a woman.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's so that comes up, but then I mean, relatives pop up, people in their lives, people that they need to talk to. It's really different from person to person. I mean, I worked on someone and I was like, cabbage. Why is cabbage coming up? She's like, I've been eating cabbage for the last 4 days. It's just so why things come up sometimes, I have no clue. And it probably was like stop eating cabbage. Maybe her higher self or someone was trying to tell her that. But the most random things happen in these sessions.
That's impressive. Yeah. So it sounds like there's a lot more intuitive piece to it as well.
Hmm.
Like I know there's a very technical piece that you learn through your training of
Hmm.
like how to place the forks because it's not, you don't want to just jump in. Like my guide say, you have to be cautious about
Hmm.
this. But yet when you talk about it, there's a lot of intuition that's like popping up where you're getting images, you're getting messages, so it sounds like they blend really well. I'm assuming that's not something that you were trained in, correct?
It's not, and because it started coming up, I've actually leaned more into that, and I'm learning how to understand what is coming to me, when is my brain taking over. So actually digging deeper into and like names are coming to me that are like accurate, which is crazy for people.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I don't get names. I'm always impressed when people can get names because
it's
it's just not
wild. Like
my
some of this
strong
side
suit.
work, it's or like some the person I'm working with, she sent me like a just a quick example of a just a bunch of images. And it's like, tell me who's alive and who's dead. And the first like three, I've done three of them, and I've guessed each person's name. It's just or not guessed, right? It's wild. It's just being when I when you I don't know if you're the same or if everyone's the same. Everyone I grew up and I'm like, I want a special power. Like I want to be a superhero. And it's like we all have some power that we need to just let come out. And so just being open to that too, of like, this is really weird. Let's get weirder. Let's like see how far we can push how weird this can be. And it all came through with forks, with just being in someone's field. I'm like, this is really interesting.
I don't know how to describe that for someone. It's like because it doesn't make like logical sense, but you will find you're just hitting the fork, and then it's like for me, the channel opens and you just start getting the information. I
Mhm.
don't get names. I'm impressed that you get that.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if part of it, because when you're talking, it just sounds like your vibrations just been like rising over the last couple of years. And I can only imagine being kind of immersed in sound healing and the gongs. And I would be curious about like what your energetic field looks like
Mm.
because, it's going into the cellular level, like we're mostly water. And I wonder if just your kind of your auric field has gotten to that level where then these other clairs are popping up or strengthening because your vibration's gotten so high. So you're kind of up here, not that it's a pass or fail, but when
Yeah.
you're up in those higher, the
Mm.
channels are much more accessible. So that's really interesting to me.
I think that makes sense too. And I'm allowing myself to be open, more open than I ever was, and every day. So I think that also is like a safe way of allowing the messages to come through, right? And that makes sense to me. I mean, I did a group Biofield Tuning a, about a month ago, and I hadn't done that before. It was really nice. We called it a Biofield sound bath, but
Yeah,
um,
can you talk about that? Because
yeah,
our mutual friend Amy was telling me that you did a group sound healing and she said he did it with tuning forks and she goes, she was completely blown away by it. And I had never thought about using tuning forks in a group setting. So can you talk a little bit about like what
totally.
inspired you to do that? Is that normal? Like, because I've never had that
Well,
done or heard of it.
it's part of the training we do is also about group work, right? So, and it's so interesting, and it's like you in this whole world of all this, it's like, oh yeah, like this is starting to make sense somehow, just because we're living it, whatever path we're going down, right? So, like, I am feeling into someone's aura, their biofield, and I'm clearing something like, okay, fucking crazy. And so then if you keep going step by step, you can work on everyone if you picture everyone together. So, and you can, by the way, you can do all this remote, and we can talk about that in a
I've
moment.
done that remotely.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have done it remotely. I
And,
haven't done it in
but you're
person. Okay.
picturing everyone. So everyone was lying around me. And I'm picturing everyone like kind of stacked on one in one body, right? So everyone's just here, and so I'm visualizing that. Um, I never remember the word for this. There's a word that's often used. Someone's representation or somewhat the
Like a
embodiment,
hologram, like holographic.
basically a hologram. There's a
Okay.
different word, but whatever. So everyone's stacked there, and I'm essentially doing many of the same protocols that I'm doing if it's just one on one with the client. Um, I'm not walking around as much or anything like that, but opening the central channel, and whatever comes up, I talk about. And this is all coming down the road of like being open to and to what's going to come in. I mean, I was just like the things I was talking about and bringing up people. So it was about an hour and a half. The whole session was like 2 hours, but it was like an hour and a half, like, between everyone settling in and coming back. Um, they asked me questions about certain things I said, and I'm like, I don't remember anything I said. And it's this like idea of channeling was never as real as it was at that time, where I'm like, oh, because I recorded the whole thing too. So, I was able to give we were able to send that back to everyone so they can re-listen and re-experience it too. And I
That's
haven't
good.
re-listened to it yet, actually, myself, because I hate the sound of my voice. But um, that's a different issue. And um, but it was pretty wild to understand like, oh, this is what channeling is. This is what, you know, things are going to come through you and you don't even realize it's happening until it's happening, or until you forget everything you said. Like, this is wild.
And I kind of like when it happens, to be honest, because that makes me know that I was like really in it. And
Yeah.
then people are like, "You said this," and I'll be like, "I did," and they're like, "Are you predicted that?" And you're like, "Sure, of course I did." Like, but I don't,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, "I don't remember," you know.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious, like when you talk about it, it just seems fun. Like you can tell like you really enjoy it, and I think
Mhm.
that's also probably why you're so good at it
Mhm.
because I think when you have that joy, it just again your vibration's like so high. But I'm curious for the participants because it sounds like it was really deep, even though it was a group session. It sounds like it was as meaningful and helpful to them as a one-on-one session.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I didn't know what to expect going into it. I'd done plenty of sound baths, and that's quote unquote easy now. It's like it's easy and it's fun, and this was also fun, but you just don't know you never know what people are going through, especially if they're like moving around, or um it's always like, oh, what's wrong with them? Like, what sound did I make? And it's never anything what you think it is, like whatever. Um so I People share seeing different, a lot of visuals of colors, feeling things in different parts of their body. There was this common like right hip thing, like almost everyone had, and I had felt that in the field, like as the in that one quote unquote body I was working on, the stacked body. Um, but there were some profound experiences, and I think that a few people shared and a few people didn't, and I think it's the ones that don't share that have the really interesting ones that you'll never know. But Yeah, I mean, people loved it. Um, you kind of know when a group is into it or not. So,
Mhm.
and also, Amy's been getting good feedback from other people too, and we have another one coming up in about a week and a half.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's awesome. I mean, when you when you end a sound experience and let silence just sit there for 2 minutes and no one even moves, it's like it's special. It's special to see, and to know that like something awesome has happened for that person. There's some healing that's happened, and
Yeah,
that's what we talk about in the sound world, right? And that's what we learned is like I'm not doing anything. I'm helping you relax. Like sound, I am playing the right kinds of sounds to help you relax so your body can heal. It's a great approach to this too, you know.
I think so too. Instead, it takes the ego out of it, right? Like I'm
Mm,
doing this
mm,
instead of like I provide the space. So I'm curious, like,
mhm.
what do you call that? Like, are you going to do more of those group sessions? Because they sound, I'm like, I'd love to come down to
Yeah,
even
yeah,
experience it myself. But so what do you call them? Because it sounds like it's more than a sound bath and
it
it's not an
is.
individual like biofield tuning. I was like, I'm
It's
just curious, like, you have a marketing background. I'm like, what do you call
well,
that?
we talked about this. Oh, it's funny too because I've only known Amy for like 2 months, which is just so random. Like we met and we were like, okay, let's do a workshop. So we
And
talked
Amy is
about,
the owner of Meditation and
yeah.
Safety Harbor for those who don't know,
Yeah,
which is a very phenomenal place for the
amazing.
people who are in the area or visiting in the
Oh
area.
my God.
You should go check it out.
And the studio is like insulated, and well, Safety Harbor is amazing in Tampa, in the Tampa area. But it's so insulated that you hear nothing, literally nothing. And you can't get that in most studios, honestly. There's always like some noise somewhere. Um, but it's like completely, it's an old bank. It's amazing. I also want to have do a sound bath, and there's a vault that's still in there. She doesn't use it for anything, but I was
Really?
like, I want to do a sound bath in this vault, in this bank
Oh
vault.
my gosh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we talked about it, and it was like, well, most people don't know what biofield tuning is, despite, how much I know about it and you know about it. So she's like, I think it was like, let's call it like biofield sound bath. So people know what a sound bath is, and they kind of maybe know what the biofield is. So let's just combine those, right? So at least if someone's looking for a sound bath, they'd be interested in it. Um,
Mhm.
and we sold out the first one. So that's the way we've been marketing it. Um, and that's the first time I've done it in public, like at an event like that. So as I continue to do them, I mean, they're group biofield tunings. That's what it is. But if people don't know what that is, then that's
I know
fine.
it's like an experience, but I was like, in my head, I was trying to figure out like, how do you
Yeah, you're
really
right.
like, what
So a
is
sound bath.
this, right? Because there's
Yeah.
so much more going on than
Mm.
just a sound bath, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah, that's a hard one
So
to
it
kind
is
of.
it is sound the whole time. It's just, I mean, it's interesting that I used like two forks. I was striking just two forks for like an hour, which is crazy to think that
Yeah.
that's going to send you away, where everyone's like, well, no, you need like these chimes and this rattle and this drum.
I love that. Well, I hope to get down to experience it because that
Mm,
sounds amazing. So I also wanted to talk about you have the side company, which is Sound
mm,
Nuts.
yes,
Can we segue into that? Do you mind talking about that
of
a little bit and
course.
explaining what Sound Nuts are?
I love talking about my nuts. Let me tell you. And it's become kind of a joke in the community too, in terms of like people will always use if people can make jokes about nuts with like the wordplay with nuts, it's the no one's happier. So I don't know, maybe it was about a year and a half ago. I had these I as I'm in this world and I'm messing around with, you're doing experiments with water in sound bowl and like, structuring the water. And then other things are coming in like
Can you
uh
back up and explain that? Because some people aren't going to
oh,
understand what
oh,
that
yeah.
is.
So you can change the structure of water with sound wave, with frequency. So you can put it into a bowl and part of its intention, but also the frequency itself as you play the bowl changes the structure of the water temporarily, right? Um, does that make sense?
That's yes.
Okay. Is that enough? I guess maybe was also the question.
Yeah, I
So
was like, well, you see oftentimes I'm thinking of
yeah,
like you see on social media, people will take a sound bowl and they play and you can see the water
yeah, the
bouncing, which I
ripples.
always
Yeah,
think is so cool. Yeah. So you kind of have that visual of it.
totally. Or you can like send intention or into like ice and you see the formations. And so all these other things started popping up of like Buddhist monks like, having intention from one plant versus the other, or sending intention into water and the structure being differently to being different. And at the same time, I was looking for nuts that were organic macadamias and pistachios that were just like good and organic. And I was like, people Reiki bless their food. In many cultures, we sit down and we say a blessing before we eat. And my family never did that, but I was like, okay, all these things kind of make sense as they come back around. And I am surrounding someone with instruments and raising their vibration. Why can't I do the same thing with food? So I started sourcing organic macadamias, organic pistachios from Hawaii and California, and I was like, I can give them a sound bath and call them sound nuts. I can have a lot of fun with this. So every batch, I'll get a batch in of 25 pounds of each nut, give it a sound bath, and then package it up. I packaged it up with my parents. Like they have like a little assembly line, um, and then these things. So I record that too. So then you can like listen to the sounds and the frequency that the nuts that you're eating also got. So it's been fun. And I
I'm
was like,
curious what people have said about it because I really liked that piece to it because I
mm,
thought there's something because I obviously believe in sound and intention and vibration.
mm-hmm,
But when I read that on your
mm,
website, which is a great website by the way,
yeah,
when I read that, I went like, oh, that like makes sense. And that what I could see was oftentimes it's fun to do something different, like you do tea ceremony, right? Cacao ceremony.
mm,
And I thought, well,
yeah,
gosh, you could do something around this with nuts and sit in meditation and listen to the sound bath and, ingest the nuts and then, journal or connect in and meditate and kind of see what comes out of it. Because again, you're raising the vibration. I thought, well, it just made sense to me. It's kind of a new and unique type of ritual. Just, like cacao has, like, I'm sure is like shot off and everyone's doing cacao ceremonies, which is wonderful. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing that we can use, right?
Mhm.
So I thought you've had a really creative way to come up with a different and fun way. So I'm curious, like, what have people said that are people using it in that way? Because that was my idea when I was like looking at it. I thought, oh, this makes sense to me. But I'm curious what other people are doing.
Some people are. So and I also pull an oracle card for every batch too. So like that is the intention, and that's like the batch number, quote unquote, or the name of the batch. So like when I'm selling them too, or when people are like, hey, I want a bag, it's like, what do you want to focus on? And the first batch was intuition. Plan and focus was the second one. Third one was about protection. I can't remember the exact name of it, but guardian angel was the card. So it depends on what someone needs in that moment, and like they'll think about it, and then they'll come back to me, and like they'll think about what bag they need, which is cool. Um,
Mhm.
like what intention they need. Um, but normally it's they don't get super into what came up for them, but the people that talk to me, they're like, yeah, it like I had this question, and I sat with it, and it was great. Like I listened at the same time. um what I often get is like, I ate the whole bag in one sitting. I'm like, yeah, well, that's 6 servings, so maybe you shouldn't. But I get it, because like having nuts in my house, like it's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough to not eat nuts all the time, um, and eat a lot of them. Anyway, so um,
Especially if you're like in the zone and it feels really good and
oh
you're
my
like in this
gosh,
nice, like calm, meditative state. Like I
yeah,
could see you being like, just a few more. Like,
they're
yeah.
healthy. But yeah, it's well, and it's funny too, because like I say this to people, so I'm like, even if you're not into everything I'm talking about with the sound and it being infused, if you don't believe that, they're really fucking good. Like they're objectively like awesome, because they're sourced so well. I mean, um, but I do also think that like there's something to the intention you put into them. Like I don't think that it's a mistake that they also taste great, because like there's care put into them. The way they were packaged, the way the way I use tuning forks around them, or the gong, or the drum around it. It's like uh, it's hard to believe that at a cellular level something hasn't changed, and there's no proof there, right? Um, and there's tests to be done. I do want to do a taste test, of like
Oh, that's a good idea.
untreated versus treated nuts, sound treated. So I am going to start doing that. And that would be fun. That'd just be a fun like thing to do.
It reminds me of, is it Dr. Emoto's work with the water and the vibration
Mhm.
and how he was able to get the ice crystals and you could see the intention of when they would say like, I hate you versus I love
Mhm.
you. And so I think his work was amazing. And I know there's other people doing similar work, but yeah, I agree. I think intention and sound are two incredibly powerful things. And I think you're kind of ahead of your time, really. I think that
Mhm.
more and more people are going to start to be more aware of the benefits to it and
Yeah,
just how powerful it can be, which we all need right now in the world, right?
totally.
Like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
and it's not like I, it's not like anyone can't do this. It's just the intention that you put around it, right?
This is true, yes. But I just think people really are looking for, I think, ways to kind of disconnect and to, in a good way, a disconnect from like the outside world and to be able
Mhm.
to sit. So when I was reading it, I thought, gosh, that just for me, the thought of sitting in a space like by a window and taking that time and having, just listening to the sound bath without, checking emails or being bombarded by all the information in the world
Yeah.
and taking that time to connect
Mhm.
inward, I just think that's really needed. So that's why I thought we need more creative ways to do it,
Mhm.
because I think it's just gonna it'll speak to the people that it's meant to speak to,
Yeah.
that it would be beneficial to.
Totally.
Yeah, but I love that.
Thanks.
So, okay, so I always like to be kind of aware of time. Is there anything else that you want to cover? Can you tell people a little bit about where to find you, what you have coming up, and like all the good stuff?
Yeah. Um, Thank you. Thank you for having me on for one as well. And all the insights. If you're in the general Tampa area, I teach two classes on Sunday, yin and sound. I teach on Tuesday and Thursday nights, yin and sound. Um, all different classes every time. I teach a restorative class twice a month at a different studio. All this stuff's on my website, on nirvanastate.com. Find me. It's all on there.
Which I'll put in the show notes. It sounds like you're in a few different studios. Is that
It is.
correct?
I teach at three different studios. So all great studios, all awesome, different communities, different feel. I do pop-ups, workshops. So like we were talking about at Amy's studio at Ohm. Should I mention the other studios? Does it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Kodawari in South Tampa, Cocoon Movement and Yoga. I think that's what their official name is. Cocoon, also in South Tampa. Ybor Restore in Ybor City. But like Ybor City where you can park, not Ybor for those that are going to resonate with that. Not weird, not Ybor City where it's like, holy shit, I don't know where to park.
Which would make a difference for me.
It
I
does.
like
There's
to know
like
that you can
parking
like
right there.
access.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like yeah, it's not like there's a lot of different areas I can go there. So workshop that pop up, and all those are I talk about it a lot on my Instagram, which is my first name, last name. I also have an Instagram for Sound Nuts, which is Sound Nuts Snacks. I do biofield tuning in person. I do it remote. I've done a lot of remote sessions. And we didn't get into this, but like you can feel where I can have my fork next to where I perceive someone's left shoulder and they're like, I feel something in my heart space on my left side. And it's like, holy shit. So, remote sessions also are very powerful. I mean, we're all connected. Again, maybe that's another podcast, but I do remote sessions. Um, yeah, I mean, I've got other random stuff coming out too. I just started a blog on my website. So what I've been doing every class is I record the final. I always have a shavasana. It's all about sandwiches, I guess. I always have a shavasana at the beginning and a shavasana at the end, and I always record the final one. So I started to post that. So I'm calling it Shavasana Sounds. So that's the blog that's also on my website /blog and YouTube. So students or anyone can go and listen to that 5 to 10 minutes of final Shavasana with those sounds to kind of like come back in if you need a reset, if you just need like a quick meditation during the week. So I started posting that too, which I think is really cool.
I'm gonna check that out because that's nice. I like to have something to listen to. That's always a good.
And
And it sounds like it'd be nice even if you did like your own yoga practice at home or like I
exactly.
do qigong, and then it's like you kind
Yeah.
of have the shavasana taken care of, so
Totally.
you
And
can hop on and
there's no
listen.
words or anything. I cut out the words. It's just sound. I was also thinking, I'm like, how is this not taken? And it's not. Like shavasanasounds.com is like a thing. I'm like, yoga teachers need this. They need this sound. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a funny thing for me. I was just like, how is no one talking about this as like an idea? Because you're always looking for something for shavasana to
And it's
play for
always
your
something
students.
easy, like, to rush it, like, if it's your own personal practice, like, at home, because it's like your to-do list, like, kicks in, so I kind of like that it almost is like, "Nope, we're not done yet," like, you're
Yeah.
gonna wait, and then you have the sound, like,
So
something to
good.
look forward to even, like, for the end of the practice,
Yeah.
because it's the best part, but oftentimes, like, real life comes in a little too quickly.
It's the reason why we do yoga, and the reason why yoga exists is for shavasana. That's literally the reason why the yoga is what we do. I mean, we don't not anymore, but that's the origin. So
Wow, I feel like there's another podcast in there somewhere, Lucas. I feel like you and I could continue on. We have a lot of similar
I
interests.
agree. And all the
Like,
other,
we could talk about that and, like, this.
there's a
Yeah, I could
clothing
keep
line
going.
company. There's plenty more to talk about. There's so many things I'm trying to stand up right now. So
Yeah,
awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the insight and
you're welcome.
yeah, holding space. It was awesome.
All right. Well, for those of you listening, if you liked this podcast, please leave us 5 stars and consider following. We would be really grateful. As for my work, you can find me at thekarunalife.com. I do have a new intuition development course that is online, that is up, that I'm very excited about. And we are also doing Trimatri Reiki classes this month, which I'm also very excited about. So I think that's all I have, and everyone have a wonderful day.